Hey guys, so we're going to try and draw our hands today. And so it's one of those things where people think it's really hard to do, and it can be because they're complicated, right? A lot of lines happen when you move your hand. But we're going to think about the basic shapes and shading and try it out. And the more you practice something hard, the better you get, and the more it helps you to do new things. So first you got to pick a pose for your hand, your non-dominant hand, because you're going to draw with your dominant hand. I am right-handed, so I will draw my left hand. It could be open, it could be closed, it should be partially open or closed. I would say to start, I'm going to try and do something easy. I'm just going to have a fist. Now I got to pick a pose that's not too uncomfortable, because you're going to have to be looking at your hand like that for a while. How about like this? Okay. So now I can look at the basic shape that my hand is making. Alright. And I can think about that. Also, I'm going to look at the basic shapes each finger is making. Okay, so then there's a few ways you could start. I think basic outlines is going to be a good way to do it, and then you can come back in with more detailed, like all these little lines in here. You can always add that later. Alright, so that's this line here. So all I've done is I've tried to copy the line for the top of my fist here. And there's a little bump there. And then it's going to wrap around to my finger. Okay, now my thumb is overlapping. So before I try and do more of that finger or these fingers down here, I'm going to go ahead and put the thumb in. And I can see it starts here and curves in front of that other finger. Trying to make that shape. That line matches there. Okay. Okay, so if I have the thumb and the top of the hand, now I can start wrapping in these fingers. And notice they're not all straight in a line. The bumps change size. So I'm going to look at them and try to copy each finger. Okay, so I've got my three little sausagey fingers here, and then I'm going to have this bottom curve. You know, that's the basic shape of my hand. Now what's going to really help us out is coming in and starting to put the lines and the shading. So in here, this is all very dark because of the way the light's hitting my hand. So I can actually kind of color that in some. And then coming out from that darkness, I see two main creases, two lines. And so then as I look, I'm seeing more lines. You don't have to draw every single line you see, but the big ones are going to help it look more realistic. Also on some of my fingers, I can see the fingernail. So I can make that shape. And I can see the little creases on the top of my fingers. Creases here. And your thumbnail. Alright, and then the little creases that make this finger curled over. Okay, so there is a drawing of my hand. Just looking at the outlines. I didn't even worry that much about shading. Of course, you can come in and shade because, for example, this part of my hand is lighter and this part of my hand has a shadow. So you can start to shade that in. Each finger. Adding the shading. And there we go. And so once you've got one hand, you can change up your pose and try and draw it again. So I'll just kind of speed through. You know, they don't have to all be the same size or shape. You can look at your hand and try to copy it. And when you get good at it, you've practiced a lot, you'll be able to do it quickly. Like I'm doing here. Okay, if they kind of overlap and go on top of each other. Seeing how many good hands we can draw. Sometimes when you draw a hand, it's not going to look right, and sometimes it will actually turn out better than you expected. Alright guys, so try out drawing some realistic hands.